ever launch a new product, like put it out there. And it's like you're holding your breath waiting to see if it makes a splash.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what we're tackling in this deep dive. We're diving into the whole world of data in digital marketing. And trust me, it's way more exciting than it sounds. We're going to give you like the actual tools to figure out what really matters for success, in the digital world.
Yeah.
No more just guessing, just straight up insights to like steer your strategy. Right?
Exactly.
So imagine this. You're a small business owner. Maybe you make like incredible pottery, right? And you just launched your online store.
Okay.
You've got this beautiful website, all these mugs and bowls, but how do you know if anyone's actually finding them? Like, are your ads actually reaching those pottery lovers? Or are they getting lost in the sea of like cat videos and, whatever else is out there?
Yeah, it's like you've built this amazing ship, but you're kind of sailing without a compass or a map.
Oh, I like that.
That's where the data comes in.
Okay.
And it's not just like numbers on a screen. It's actually the language your audience is speaking. It tells you what they love, what they're ignoring, and what they like desperately want from you.
So it's like having a conversation, but instead of words, they're using clicks and views and like shares and all that.
Precisely. And just like any good conversation, the key is listening. So by analyzing those clicks, those shares, you can really pinpoint where people are like getting hooked on your brand and where they might be dropping off. Are they abandoning their carts right before they check out? Maybe they're not seeing enough photos of your pottery on their, on Instagram or whatever platform they're on.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But there's so much data out there. Like, where do we even start?
Well, think of it like organizing your tool shed.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
You got your hammer, your screwdriver, and your tape measure. In digital marketing, those tools are paid, owned, and earned media.
I like that.
Yeah.
That makes it way less intimidating than like lines of code and stuff.
Right.
So let's break those down.
Okay.
Let's start with owned media. That's like the trusty hammer of the digital world then, I guess.
You could say that. It's everything you directly control.
Yeah.
Your website, the stuff you put on your blog, your email list.
Right.
It's your home turf.
Yeah.
And luckily, it usually comes with like a built-in data collection system. Think of your website as like a treasure map.
Okay.
And every click, every page view is an X marking a valuable insight.
All right. I'm intrigued. So what kind of treasures are we talking about here? Like, what can we learn from something as simple as a website visit?
More than you might think. For instance, let's say you're that ceramicist, right? And you see this like spike in traffic to your handmade mugs page. But it happens right after you post photos of your latest creations on Instagram.
Okay.
That tells you that visual content, that's key for getting people from Instagram to your website.
And that's just like scratching the surface, right? We can go deeper. Look at how long they're staying on each page, what they're clicking on.
Absolutely. Imagine you're noticing a high bounce rate that just means people are leaving after one page.
Oh, okay.
Maybe your website's hard to navigate or the content isn't quite right.
Gotcha.
Data helps you like diagnose those pain points and then make changes so people stay engaged.
This is starting to feel less like a treasure hunt and more like detective work,
Yeah, right.
Speaking of clues, how do we actually get to all this website data?
That's where tools like Google Analytics come in. It's like your magnifying glass.
Okay.
It collects and organizes all that data, makes it easier to understand those user behavior patterns. You'll see where they're coming from, what pages they love, even how they interact with your calls to action and all that.
So instead of guessing what our audience wants, we can actually see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It lets you make like smarter decisions about your website design, your content, even product development. Say you see a blog post about, choosing the right clay and it gets tons of engagement.
Yeah.
That's a sign. Your audience wants more of that educational stuff.
This is all making sense now. Now I want to see what I can find on my own website. But we've got 2 more tools to get through, right?
We do.
Let's move on to paid media. That's the versatile screwdriver in our digital marketing toolkit, would you say?
A perfect way to put it. Paid media is all about, well, advertising.
Right.
But it's not just about throwing money at ads and hoping for the best. It's about using data to make laser-focused campaigns, reaching the right people at the right time with the right message.
This is where it gets really interesting for our ceramicists, right? Like, say they're running ads, on social media, search engines to promote their shop. How do we make sure those ads are reaching the pottery fans and not just like disappearing into the void?
That's the question, isn't it? And the data holds the answer. With paid media analytics, we can get so precise, targeting the right people and figuring out what really works for them. Imagine our potter's got 2 ads on Instagram. One showing off those minimalist white mugs, the other like vibrant hand-painted bowls.
So instead of just a generic buy my pottery message, we can tailor it, speak directly to different tastes.
Exactly. And we can track which ad gets more clicks, which leads to actual sales. Even break it down further. See if certain age groups, certain locations are drawn to one style over the other.
Wow. It's like having these tiny marketing assistants tracking every single click.
It's powerful stuff.
Now, you mentioned conversion pixels earlier, which sounds very sci-fi, but I have a feeling they're about to become our potter's new best friend.
You're catching on.
Yeah.
Think of them as tiny digital breadcrumbs. They help us follow a customer's journey from that first click on the ad all the way to the checkout.
Oh, okay.
They're the key to proving that your advertising is actually working.
So someone sees the ad for a handmade teapot, clicks it, browses the website, and buys it. The pixel tells us that sale, that came from the ad.
Precisely. It connects the dots between the money you spend and the money you make. Without those pixels, you're basically guessing if your ads are driving those sales or if people found you some other way.
This is gold. I'm seeing how data takes the guesswork out of it, helps us be smarter with our marketing budget. But we can't forget the last tool in the kit, earned media. It's like that word-of-mouth magic every business wants, right?
Absolutely. Earned media is all about those genuine connections with your audience, inspiring them to become like your biggest fans. It's like someone loving your pottery so much they tell all their friends about
It's
it.
less about us controlling the message and more about creating an experience people connect with, want to share.
Exactly. It's about building a community around your brand, encouraging that engagement, that trust through real interaction.
That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. But how do we measure something as intangible as buzz or brand love? Are we talking counting likes and shares on social media?
That's part of it, for sure. We look at metrics like social media engagement. How much are people interacting? How fast is your following growing? Are they sharing your content, mentioning you?
We're talking about reviews, blog comments, even if your brand pops up in online magazines, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's like tossing a pebble in a pond, and we're tracking those ripples. Each like, share, review.
Yeah.
It all adds to your reach.
Okay, I like that visual.
And here's where the strategy comes in. It's not just about racking up those numbers, like having a gazillion followers.
Right.
It's about understanding how those interactions actually turn into real business results.
So for our potter, it's not enough to know people heart their Instagram posts.
Yeah.
They want to see those hearts turn into website visits, actual sales.
Exactly. Let's say our potter gets featured in a blog post about, handmade gifts.
Yeah.
And suddenly, bam, their website traffic and sales go up.
Yeah.
That tells them influencer marketing, getting some PR, those could be big wins for them.
This is painting a very data-driven picture here. So we've got our hammer, our screwdriver, and now our word-of-mouth magic. But it's a lot to juggle. Where do we even begin?
Great question. You don't need to be like a data whiz to figure this out. Start with your top goals right now. What's most important for you to achieve?
Gotcha.
Is it getting your name out there?
Yeah.
More people on your website? Boosting those online sales? Something else entirely?
So figure out which metrics actually match up with those goals, right? Like if our ceramicist really wants to sell more online, they wouldn't worry too much about getting mentioned in a fancy magazine, unless those mentions actually lead to more sales.
Exactly. Focus on the data that moves the needle for your business. Don't get distracted by those vanity metrics that look flashy, but don't actually help you reach your goals.
This has been eye-opening. I'm really seeing how data can change the game, take us from guessing to really strategizing. Any last words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Stay curious. Don't be afraid to try different tools, different approaches. See what works for you. And remember, data is your friend, not the enemy.
I love that.
It's there to guide you, help you make smarter choices that get real results.
It's been awesome diving into all this with you. And for everyone listening, remember, understanding data, it's a journey, not a one-time thing.
It's true.
Keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep making awesome stuff because the world needs what you're creating.
Hear, hear.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive into the world of digital marketing data. We'll catch you next time.